Hi everybody, this is Jimmy and welcome back to Jimmy Does Knitting. I am a knitter and knitwear designer based here in Amsterdam. You can find me as Jimmy Does Knitting on Ravelry, both as a user and in pattern design. I have Jimmy Does Knitting on Ko-Fi and Instagram. And yeah, I like to pick a topic and we go from there. Today's topic is going to be Intarsia. Little bit of what's going on with everything. We'll do a little bit of admin. The projects I'm knitting on currently are more elaborate than like typical projects. So I'm knitting, but I don't have much to say because progress is slow, and also like I don't know if it's incredibly interesting content. So I will pop up here once again once I have some content. So my videos might be even a little bit more delayed than they normally are. I know I was supposed to post last Saturday, but I haven't. Anyway, there's that. And I think maybe because these posts are going to be a little bit longer in between, what I might try to do is do like 2 projects or something in order to make it a little bit faster. Like, so the episodes may be like 20 minutes or something fairly short, which is fine because people are posting out these like feature-length film podcasts, which is like all right for some, but I'm not going to listen to a knitting podcast for 2.5 hours. These things are crazy. There's no chapters. They just ramble on. And even at 1.5 speed, which is what I've been watching them at, it still takes a lot of time to go through. So I don't know. Anyway, shorter podcast. I will get to what I'm wearing later. Stash update, because I have one finished object. In so far this year has been 3,807 grams, and out has been 2,917 for a total of plus 890. I think that's pretty good considering I got 23 skeins of West wool for my Prada sweater, which we'll be discussing today. So that really like threw off my total, but I think I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, so I think that's the admin. Let's get into it. Intarsia episode. This is Intarsia like related, adjacent, but we're going for it anyway. I'm shoehorning this in. I have a new design coming out in August because I wanted a really long test time for my Metaphysics sweater, and the testers are doing really great stuff and really cool color combos. If they tag me, I automatically put it up because like these sweaters are turning out phenomenally and I'm like super excited by it. So I had this Metaphysics Intarsia sample. It's pieced, it's all over Intarsia. I think it's beautiful. This is knit in the size 3. And what I wanted to do was an oversized like boyfriend version, and I wanted to make it just a little like bigger, and I wanted to have this be a double pattern. So bottom up in the round and then the sleeves top down, but like it's the same shaping, same math, same everything. And what I did for that is I took 2 colors of Knitting for Olive Merino. One second. And these were the 2. So the idea is, theoretically, and we'll discuss, the regular Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino, which is what I used for this, and the colors Rust and Coal, were the same gauge as 2 strands of Knitting for Olive Merino together. So this is Thundercloud and this is Licorice. Why the black is Licorice in one and Coal in the other, I don't know. But these are the 2 that I put together to get this. Now, I'll show you. I'm still wearing shorts from the gym, but that's how we roll here. So, I mean, it's just a regular marled, plain stockinette sweater. It's nothing special. It has a slightly different construction because I did it in the round bottom up as opposed to pieced. But I followed my pattern essentially from that, using this because it was supposed to have the same gauge. I did not gauge swatch. And I got this sweater. So that was a size 3. This is supposed to be a size 4. I can confirm that the math in my size 4 works. But this is no size 4. This is, I would say, bigger than my size 3 that I made, but it's not, it didn't block to the width, the measurements, none of that stuff that it was supposed to. That was like a 42-inch chest. I would say No, that was like 40. This is maybe like 42. And it was supposed to be 44. So this is not going to be a mega pattern anymore because I couldn't get gauge with the Marl, which is a bit disappointing. The only reason why I wanted it to be a mega pattern is because if I was doing the math for one, I was going to try to offer it for other things. Grading's usually what I hate about making a pattern. It's not necessarily writing it up. And so the writing stuff could change pretty easily, and then I would just plug the math in. But now that I know that the math does not work, I'm not going to do this. I'm just not going to write it up. Like, people can hack it if they want, but I didn't want to, like, I have to write a whole nother sweater pattern in order to put this version out with this yarn held double, and I'm just not that into it. Possibly I could redo it with just one strand of the Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino, but I'm not making this sweater again. I knit a version of the sweater before, the Metaphysics, and then the Marl version, and I'm not making another one. So we'll have the Intarsia version. It will be great. You can also knit that plain, but I think that's what's happening with that. So this is a finished object. I really like this sweater. It's a nice sweater. It fits really great. It has that oversized boyfriend sweater thing. So there's not going to be a test for this version, but keep a lookout for the Intarsia version. Anyway, so that is the Metaphysics. Next, let's go into a new cast on. So I had been like uninspired, not really into knitting other people's patterns, but I saw this one coming up and I knew that I wanted to use it to upskill, and for sure it made me upskill. So the pattern is the Brioche Intarsia Bandana by Anna Husemann. And so it's what it does on the tin. So it's a Brioche and Intarsia together, and it is a bandana. So I started it off, I think I've started like 6 or 7 times, if I'm going to be honest. Like, it's not the pattern that's the issue, it was me. I think a lot of more advanced knitters tend to like lightly skim a pattern and then go for it. So I didn't read it very well, and I had to restart a couple of times, and that was not the one. And then I got going, and then I got to the chart part, and reading the chart, I was doing it a little wrong too. So I had to rip back in 2-color brioche for that. So it was a bit of like a dodgy start for me, but it's all right. It's fine. I just needed to sleep on it and wrap my head around it as opposed to pushing through at like 11 o'clock at night. So the pattern's good, aside from the fact that the brioche joins in the back with the Intarsia. She gives you a method to like hide them, essentially. And for the life of me, it makes no sense to me. I can do brioche, I can do Intarsia. This hidden method of it doesn't make any sense to me. There are also pictures and I'm just like, I don't get it. But that's neither here or there. So one of the reasons why I restarted over is because this was my original color palette. And in her, she has this like teal green with a red. And like in all the tester pictures, you could see basically the, you know, the prominent color and then like not the back color, the background color very much. But for some reason, mine is turning out more like that. I think I have a loose gauge, and also I think it counts for DK weight yarn, but like 3mm needles, all my 3mm needles are busy. So I use 3.25. Which is fine for DK weight. Also, this is just fully scrappy. But I liked it like this, but when I started doing the Intarsia, the yellow back color, this Westwool Tandem and Adam, was just a little too prominent, and it like, I thought distracted from the Intarsia colors that I was going to use. I needed something a little bit more neutral. So I ripped out, and then I didn't bind off, but I ripped out and tried to salvage as much yarn as possible, and then I have this. So this is what the beginning looks like. And then I got into it, made some mistakes reading the chart, ripped back, slept on it, Now we're good. So let me go through the colors and stuff that I'm using. But first, I suppose I should show you this. So this is Brioche and Intarsia. Which way is supposed to start? So this is the right side of it, and this is how far I got yesterday after I restarted about 1,000 times. And it looks, because I chose a white or an ecru for the back color, it looks a lot more like on screen the yellow is showing up, which is really good. In person, I still think a lot of the white is coming through, but I have started and it's just like these fun shapes and designs and stuff like that. So this is currently where it's at, and I think it's a little bit bigger than what hers is. I am on row 70, so like you knit up to here, and then there's like a chart that starts, and I think I'm on row like 70 of the chart. And there are 3 charts, I don't know of how many rows, but this is how it's looking. It's really fun. It's really nice. It is such a skill up thing, which is why I wanted to knit it. I figured I could do it with scraps. It was a bandana, so it was low stakes, it was fast, and then I could just really upskill. I love Brioche, I love Intarsia, and that's part of the reason why I did it. And it's just like a art piece and a chance to have fun with your scraps. So this is what it looks like. I hope that was the right information. As you can see on the back, see those floats? I couldn't figure out her method for not showing the floats on the back, because it's always like very right side, wrong side. And so this is definitely the right side. This is definitely the wrong side. Fine with that. What colors am I using? The main color that I chose is this. This is a cone of Woolyknit British wool in the color Zest. It's a fingering weight, and I'm holding it double. Technically, this is contrast color 1 for that, and I'm doing that. The background is a cone of Holst yarn that I'm also holding double, which is all tangled here. I'm nearly out of this cone, and if I'm going to be honest, I think I'm going to run out of yarn before this ends. But the deal is, this is the cone. I wound some off so I could hold it double. This is nice because of the background is quite, you don't need to cut it. The background color just sort of like goes through everything. You always knit it on both sides, and there's no Intarsia with that. So it's only Intarsia for like the first pass, the second pass, not. So that's what I've been using for this. I think I'm gonna run out, but I also have a couple of other Ecrus in like DK weight-ish, or another fingering weight Ecru, so we can make it through the shawl. It's not gonna bother me, and especially because it's scrap, this can all go. So that's nice. And then in terms of the Intarsia colors, the first one I'm using is Westwool Silver Birch. It's their mohair, and like they have a very silky mohair. I would say it's not very like fluffy, but it's silky and shiny, and I'm pairing that with Mondim in their Ecru color. I think it's color 100. So that's contrast color 2. And then I've completely forgotten the order that I've chosen to do these in, but I'm going to show you the yarn that I've selected from stash. And the idea was is these would all pop from this color, this bright yellow. I have this Ulysse, which is nice. I haven't worked with it ever before. I bought this just to do some swatching. This is, it's supposed to be sport weight. It's the color, I think it's like Emeraude. I don't know, it's in French. I have a Filcolana Pernilia, and this is the color 977. It's this beautiful cobalt blue. I have more. I have some Westwool Glowhair in the color Royal that I will be holding with Mondim in navy, and I think that this would be a good combination because this is also a fingering weight plus a mohair. This is DK technically, but I would say it's a sport. I have another color Pernilia. in this like beautiful lavender. It's color 369. And for this one, I have a like light purple princess mohair. So I'll be holding these two together to make one of the contrast colors. And then last one is I have this Rowan Kid Silk mohair in the color violet. And this was in my stash. I'll hold these double and then I will do another contrast color with them. So that is the plan. That's the scrap yarn that I've dove into. I'm gonna drop a bunch. And what I will be using. Now, let's discuss yarn management because this is the Intarsia episode. Oh, this is connected. So many balls of yarn, sorry. How am I doing this? So, there are a couple ways that you can do yarn in Intarsia, and there are 3 that I primarily use. One is just keeping them connected. So this background color, I tangled this so bad. This background color is going to be consistent, so I'm just keeping this connected as the balls are, dropping it, as the balls are, and I'm not even trying to like do whatever. Another method, which is really good, is the yellow I have on bobbins. So I doubled this up, wound it up on bobbins. It can hold these specific ones. Maybe I can show you better with this. These specific ones hold a ton of yarn, which I really like, and it's very secure. So I use these for that sort of thing. I don't like the butterflies that happen. You know, you can do a butterfly, and I find that sometimes it's appropriate to just pull a length of yarn, which we'll see in the next project. But if I'm using like a large quantity of yarn, I like to put it on bobbins because it gets less tangled than, you know, if it's like 1 arm's length of yarn, then I'll just like leave the strand hanging. But if it's more than that, I like the bobbin. And then the other thing I'm doing is I just have, and I will for the other colors, just have the Intarsia yarns as is on the balls, just there. Because it's pretty easy yarn management. And let me tell you what I mean by that. So excluding the background color, what it is basically you have 1 bobbin, the yarn, and another bobbin. So this color doesn't really separate, it just stays here. And then I have the, you know, the one and then the other. So that's how it is with most of this knit. There's going to be a little bit more like yarn management than that. But in general, that's how the design goes, is it will be like a bobbin, single color, bobbin, and then end, or another color sort of thing. So that's what's going to work best for me. It does get a little, well, tangled when you're ripping it in and out of the bag a lot, but in general, there's not so much to deal with. I have 1, 2, 3 on like the one side, and then I just have the background color at the moment, which is very manageable, I find. So that is how, I've dropped a bunch. That is how I'm doing this one, and it's a real upskill. I think once I figured out how to read the chart, we were good. But aside from that, I don't know. I'm enjoying it. It's good, it's rhythmic. I definitely feel like I'm learning something new. I'm accomplishing something. Will I ever wear this? No, but it's fun. So this is my Brioche Intarsia bandana, and let's get on to the Prada sweater. So the Prada sweater is in a really good position to show you because I finished 1 full chart repeat. So this is 1 repeat. There are these side pieces that are curling in, but it's a full repeat. And it's good to show you because at the moment I only have this light purple connected, and I need to start attaching the other yarns for the other repeats. So at the moment, these are on bobbins. I could take them off because they're probably about an arm's length worth of stuff. And then, yeah, I'm gonna add in bobbins for what's on the other side of, you know, this one, this one, this one, all that sort of thing. So that's what it is. So 1 chart repeat has been done. I still have my provisional cast on. that I do not know the ribbing color of. I think that's maybe something for next week. Since I have the full chart, I can lay some other balls down and show it to you. I'm knitting this with 15 colors of West Wool Tandem. I don't remember what all of them are off the top of my head. They will be down below. I'm not going to show them all to you, but that's what's happening with that. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about, let's talk about yarn management. So this is mostly a bobbin project for me. As you can see, I have these ones on bobbins, but when I do something like, you know, this half of a triangle, I don't put it on a bobbin. It's just loose thread. Or when I'm working like this little part right here before this one goes and like goes over, I just have a loose piece of thread. But the rest are kind of all on bobbins. Now, I have started the shaping on this, which is the big milestone that we need to show you. Not just that I finished one chart repeat, but you can see it here. I started the raglan shaping. Some of this was just like random numbers and some of it was like actual whatever happens. I have a book, this one, Amy Herzog's Ultimate Sweater book. These are all for piece sweaters, and I think that's fine. It had some helpful guidance on how to do a pieced raglan. They're all pieced bottom up in this thing, so it helps you a bit. But overall, I found a little bit more around the collar that I had to like really just like figure it out for myself. The way that it made sense for me to do the collar is not what's going to work well with this book or this pattern. The way that it makes sense for me is that you have a decrease rate in the back, you go all the way up to the neck, and then you also decrease out all of the stitches to the shoulder and then do the neck shaping on the front. That's like how it makes sense to me to do the math. But because I wanted the shoulders to be wider, so the pattern shows, I had to do quite a lot of math based on like my proportion numbers that I really like, that I've known from designing, I don't know, 10 plus sweaters. In terms of like how much higher the depth for the neck is that I like, or the width of the neck, or the depth of the neck, and how that is in circumference, and how to make that. It's just something I'm not going to go into here, but I will go into on my project video of this. So I have done this. I had like literally 3 kilos of West Wool Tandem. So I had a lot of this, and I made a little mock-up with the numbers after I finally settled on them. Because I'd rather spend, I did like a day of, this is upside down? Yes, it is. I did a day of like, let me do the math of this and do a mock-up. So, I mean, it took quite a bit of time. This is the thing. That other Intarsia thing, because I restarted it, it took me about 2 days of work gone. You know, this was another full day of work, but it was totally worth it. And what this did was verify my numbers, that they were correct and that it fits the way that I want it to, which I can show you. It doesn't actually fit the way I want it to, and also this is over a sweater. The neck, I did like a drop shoulder neck as opposed to a real like raglan neck that's like circular, because I went down and then did some shaping, whereas I just need it to be gradual, which would fill in these parts that are making it look funny. But honestly, once I do that, the width of the neck I think is going to be quite nice and it will work. So my math was on, this was a super easy adjustment to make, and I did that. So I'm glad that I did that with this, because what I would have done is I probably would have knit it and then seamed it together after blocking, and then had to adjust the shoulders and the front of the neck, which in Intarsia is a pain in the butt. I mean, it's a pain in the butt in general, but especially in Intarsia, not something I wanted to do. So it was worth doing the math so I could get this little fake yoke going and that it could be the way that I wanted it to be. So it worked out well. I'm glad I did it, and now I can confidently go with everything else. I've basically written the whole pattern at this point. Yeah, so that's that. What I will do is I will end up releasing the chart for this, because it's like, I don't want to say plagiarized, but duped from something else. I don't think that I can charge for it. So I'll give the chart. There's no way I'm writing up the sweater pattern, not even just for the one size, because I am not taking that good of notes. The notes that I take when I write up a pattern are very different than the type of notes that I take when I'm making my own pattern. So that's what's happening with that. But this is the upgrade. And then if you have suggestions for what color I should use for the ribbing, that would be great. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I haven't picked this up in a bit because I got distracted by some other things, but it's nice. And I just need to roll on some stuff on bobbins and prepare and go for the next step. What I'm going to do about these ends is I could start weaving them in. Maybe if I jump to the ribbing, then I could start weaving them in. But what's probably going to happen is I will finish the entire back piece, add the ribbing, and then weave them in, is what I'm thinking of. And then I can start the next piece. So that's sort of the plan. Stephen West is opening up not a new yarn shop, but Stephen and Penelope is relocating to Haarlemmerdijk, and which is great because I hate the location they're currently in, but they also, it's going to be farther away. I'll take a tram or something. But I'm hoping to wear this to the store around the time that they open, which I think is May 10th, and it's April 13th. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to finish this in a month, am I? No. Not unless I make this my primary, but I'm way too distracted. I have castonitis like no other. I've ordered a bunch of yarn. I'm doing some other things, which will come along in future episodes, but that's it. But yeah, my Prada sweater, very excited for this. I think it's going to be beautiful. Quite happy with the colors, quite happy with the color placement. And yeah, it's going to get faster and faster because it's going to be reducing, and I'm very excited about it. So that is my Intarsia talk for this week. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Be patient with the timings of the episodes and when they're coming out, and they might be a bit shorter, which I think is fine. Anyway, I hope you all are well. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Don't be a dick. And I will talk to you later. Goodbye.